There is a truth buried deep within you, deeper than memory, deeper than thought. It is the truth of who you really are, not the name you were given, not the body you wear, not the circumstances that dance before your senses like shadows on a wall. Who you are is the one who observes, who imagines, who creates. The outer world is not the source of your life, it is the reflection. The cause of all that you witness is not out there in the motion of things, it is in the stillness of you. But until you learn how to ignore what is seen, you cannot create what is unseen. Until you understand how to close your eyes to appearances and open them to assumption, you will be at the mercy of a world that was born of yesterday's thoughts. Reality, as you call it, is nothing more than the echo of belief. It is the mirror of your inner conversations. The very facts you swear by are merely effects trailing behind a long-forgotten state of consciousness that you once occupied, perhaps without knowing it. The world does not speak first, it listens, and it echoes. Every single thing you experience is your own voice thrown back at you, shaped into people, events, and conditions. But the one mistake most make is this: they continue to respond to the echo instead of changing the voice. To create a new life, you must do something radical. You must refuse to give authority to what your senses report. You must rise above the evidence and speak a new word in silence. You must ignore the facts, not out of delusion, but out of deep knowing. Knowing that what is real is what is felt. Knowing that assumption is more powerful than observation. Knowing that you are not here to react to life, but to command it. When you feel lack and continue to think from abundance, you are creating. When the world says no and you persist in hearing yes, you are creating. When your body aches but your inner man walks strong and healthy, you are creating. Reality does not bend to will, it bows to assumption. But assumption must be consistent and it must be felt. You cannot sprinkle a few affirmations into a mind filled with doubt and expect transformation. You must saturate yourself in the state desire until it becomes more real than what you see. You see, the outer world is slow to change, not because it is stubborn, but because it must obey law. And the law is this: consciousness is the only reality. What you are conscious of being becomes your world. Not what you hope, not what you want, not even what you beg for. Only what you consent to as true. And to consent to something invisible, you must ignore something visible. You must shut the door on the facts and open the door to the unseen. This is not fantasy. This is the mechanism of creation. It is how all things come to be. Your imagination is not a toy. It is the architect of reality. Every image you hold with faith, every feeling you repeat with emotion, every inner movie you play over and over again, that is the seed from which your future springs. So you must become disciplined in what you allow yourself to feel. Discipline not in effort, but in attention. You must guide your attention away from what is and fix it firmly on what shall be. But what shall be must be experienced as now. There is no creative power in the future. Creation happens only in the present. The future is merely the unfolding of what you are now assuming. So when you imagine, you must bring your desire into the present tense. Do not hope for it, feel it. Live from it, act as though it is, speak as though it were. Walk in the mood of the wish fulfilled. Let it color your thoughts, your posture, your energy. Let it take you over. And when the world contradicts it, ignore it, smile inwardly, and remember that the world is always late. It is always behind. Those who manifest consistently are not the ones with more talent or more opportunity. They are the ones who have learned to hold a new state in the face of the old one. They have learned to deny the evidence without resistance. They do not fight reality, they override it. They move their attention from the seen to the unseen with the grace of one who knows the end is certain. You must choose now what version of yourself you will occupy. Will you be the version who reacts to the world or the version who recreates it? Will you be the one who adjusts to circumstance or the one who generates new ones from within? Every moment you have this choice. Every moment you are imagining either heaven or hell, and life will reflect it back to you with perfect fidelity. So let us imagine boldly. Let us feel it deeply. Let us walk in the world with the certainty that what we see is not final, it is clay in our hands. It is soft and malleable. It is not here to define us, we are here to define it. And the tool we use is attention. Focused, persistent, unwavering attention. Attention not on the problem but on the solution, not on what is but on what shall be. When your senses scream lack, you must whisper wealth. When the mirror reflects loneliness, you must hold hands with love in your inner world. When your body appears weak, you must breathe the strength of your unseen self. The world may call you mad, let it. The world is always uncomfortable with those who do not bow to it. But the world eventually surrenders to those who command it from within. There is no need to fight, no need to strive. Creation is not struggle. It is alignment. It is resting in the feeling of the wish fulfilled. It is ignoring the noise long enough for the silence to shape new form. And this silence is not empty. It is filled with potential. It is pregnant with all you can imagine. The question is, what will you fill it with? Stop consulting reality as if it were the judge. It is not the authority, it is the student. It listens to you, it waits for your mood, your tone, your belief. It molds itself to the pattern you impress upon it with your feeling. So if you do not like what you see, do not curse it. Change the pattern, change the state, change the inner conversation. You have been given the most divine of gifts, the ability to choose your state. And the state you dwell in is the key to everything. You cannot create love from the state of lack. You cannot summon success from the state of fear. You cannot bring joy from the state of frustration. You must go first. You must assume the feeling before the evidence. You must walk into the room of your mind and redecorate it with the colors of the future. Let your mind become your sanctuary. Let it become your workshop. Let it become your temple. In the silence you will find power. In the imagination you will find freedom. And in the assumption you will find creation. But you must persist. The world will test you not because it is cruel, but because it is loyal. It is loyal to your previous beliefs. It will continue to echo the old story until you stop telling it. So stop. Stop repeating what you do not want. Stop affirming what you hate. Stop describing yourself in terms that no longer serve you. Begin now to speak the new story. Begin now to occupy the new state. Begin now to feel as though it were already done. Do not ask how. The how is not your business. The how belongs to the intelligence that shapes stars and flowers and oceans. Your only task is to assume the end and rest. Trust the bridge will appear. Trust the path will form. Trust that unseen hands are rearranging the visible for your good. You are not here to survive reality. You are here to bend it. You are not here to obey facts. You are here to dissolve them with feeling. You are not here to observe. You are here to imagine, to create, to embody. And so, from the moment you dare to feel differently, life begins to organize itself around that new feeling. Even if nothing changes immediately, even if the evidence seems stagnant, something has already shifted. Because once you change your state, you are no longer the same being. You are occupying a different layer of consciousness, a new timeline, a revised blueprint of self. You have moved out of alignment with the old pattern and into harmony with a new design. And that design is not out there, it is within you. It is the shape of your assumption, the texture of your faith, the vibration of your imagination. The world cannot resist this shift forever. It must conform. It has no will of its own. It simply reflects like a mirror. And a mirror never argues. It does not reason. It does not protest. It only shows what is placed before it. So when you look into the mirror of life and it shows you lack or loneliness or limitation, do not curse the mirror. Place something new in front of it. Feel something new within. Assume something new. And watch as surely as night follows day, the reflection must change. Ignore reality not with arrogance, but with authority. Not from blindness, but from vision. There is a vast difference between escaping and transcending. You are not ignoring reality to escape responsibility. You are ignoring it to assume the responsibility of a creator. You are not bypassing the world. You are reshaping it at the level where all things are born. And how do you know when you've truly changed your state? The answer is simple. You no longer care whether the outer world reflects it or not, because the inner conviction becomes so rich, so full, so alive, that it no longer needs validation. You feel it so deeply that the absence of physical proof no longer disturbs you. In fact, it amuses you. You smile at the delay because you know it is not denial. It is only the law moving pieces into place. And you stand firm, in silence, in faith, in the knowing that what you have assumed must appear. Creation is not performance. It is surrender. Surrender to the feeling. Surrender to the image. Surrender to the new version of self, as if you had always been that way. This is the art of pretending until it becomes reality. Not childish pretending, but divine play. The child pretends for fun. The awakened pretend with purpose. And the one who can pretend the longest without breaking the spell becomes the author of reality. This is why so many struggle. They break the spell too soon. They peek out of the dream and call it foolish. They plant seeds and dig them up with doubt. They imagine, but only when it's easy. They affirm, but only when the world agrees. They walk in assumption for a moment, then run back to fear when the outer world growls. And so the mirror reflects both. Confusion, contradiction, chaos. You must be bold enough to hold the new state without apology, to carry it within like a secret flame, warming every part of you, guiding your steps, informing your choices. Let the world say what it will. Let the facts insist. Let the evidence scream. You are not listening anymore. You are listening to the deeper voice, the voice within that whispers, "It is done." The voice that says, "Go forth, for all is yours." The voice that declares, "You are already what you seek." When you live from the end, reality bends. When you live in the feeling of the wish fulfilled, you walk as a magnet to the very thing you once chased. You become the center, the nucleus, the origin. All things begin to flow to you, not because you earned it, but because you became it. You merged with it in imagination, and life had no choice but to respond. But beware of the old habits that will rise. They are ghosts, not gods. They have no power except the power you give them. Doubt will knock, ignore it. Fear will whisper, silence it. Guilt will creep in, replace it with gratitude. These are remnants of your former state. Let them pass without dialogue. Do not argue. Do not wrestle. Simply return to the feeling, return to the image, return to the version of you who already has it all. And that version of you, it exists right now in this very moment. There are infinite versions of you playing out in infinite realities. One is rich, one is poor, one is sick, one is vibrant, one is loved, one is alone, one is celebrated, one is forgotten. And you, dear soul, are the chooser. You decide which version you will animate with your attention. You choose which reality gets your emotional signature. Your life is not fixed. It is fluid, it is clay, and you are the potter. But you cannot shape it by staring at what was. You must turn your gaze inward and create anew. You must lift your eyes to the unseen and declare, "This is who I am now." Not someday, not when conditions approve. And do not worry if you feel the opposite. Feeling is the entry point, not the proof. When you imagine, the feeling will often come later, but persist anyway. The repetition carves the path. The inner movie, replayed over and over, becomes your reality. Let the image become more familiar than the facts. Let the feeling become your default. Let the unseen become more intimate than the seen. The most powerful creators are those who fall in love with what they cannot yet touch. They romance the invisible. They dance with the unseen. And eventually the world must rise to meet them. It must form itself around the one who dares to live from imagination. This is the secret of every great transformation. It is not in effort. It is not in hustle. It is not in struggle. It is in the quiet decision to ignore what is and live from what could be. It is in the silent inner rebellion that says, "I will not bow to appearances." It is in the choice to inhabit the future as now. When you walk by faith, you are not walking blindly. You are walking by vision, the kind of vision that doesn't require eyes, only belief. And belief is not passive. It is the force that shapes galaxies, the power that births universes, the movement that turns thoughts into things. Your belief is your brush, and reality is your canvas. Paint well, paint boldly, even in the midst of contradictions. Persist. Even when the mirror refuses to change, persist. Even when the world throws its facts like stones, persist. Because the moment you persist, beyond doubt, beyond fear, beyond logic, that is the moment reality bends. That is the moment the world opens. That is the moment creation happens. And it will feel inevitable, almost ordinary. The desire that once seemed distant will walk in like it belonged there all along. The condition you longed for will feel like home, and you will realize it wasn't the thing you wanted, it was the version of you who had it. And now that you've become that version, the thing is simply a natural outpouring. This is the way of true manifestation. You are not summoning miracles from afar, you are becoming the miracle. You are embodying the outcome. You are walking, talking, evidence of the unseen, and the world in all its obedient neutrality must echo your inner song. So sing boldly, dream wildly, feel deeply, and most of all, ignore masterfully. Ignore reality not to deny it, but to overwrite it. Ignore it not because you fear it, but because you are greater than it. Ignore it not because it is unworthy of your attention, but because your attention is the most sacred creative force you possess. When you learn to ignore reality with grace, you begin to glide through life, no longer thrown by what appears, no longer victim to the play of shadows. You become the cause, not the effect. You shift from reaction to creation, and in that shift, everything changes. Not because the world is altered, but because your relationship to it has. You are no longer trying to force outcomes or manipulate circumstances. You are dwelling in a new state and letting life respond as it must. You are being it and therefore seeing it. This is the invisible law at work, the rhythm behind every transformation. The world does not change because you beg it to, or because you work harder than others. It changes because you have dared to live from the new story. You have dared to embody the version of yourself that already possesses the thing you seek, and from that embodiment flows alignment, and from alignment flows manifestation. Most people unknowingly live from their senses. They bow to appearances. They affirm the present condition, thinking it is truth, never realizing it is only evidence of yesterday's state. They feel poor, so they think poor, so they speak poor, so they remain poor. They feel unloved, so they act unloved, so they become less lovable. They do not know the loop can be broken, not by force, but by a quiet, daring refusal to accept what is as final. And that refusal is where your power lives. You are not trapped, you are not stuck, you are not destined to repeat the same pattern unless you give it your blessing. You can revoke the old assumption at any time. You can withdraw your consent from the unwanted. You can unchoose the past and reselect the present. This is not delusion. This is dominion. This is sovereignty. This is what it means to walk as a creator in a world that worships circumstance. It may feel strange at first, unnatural even, to smile when the bank account is empty, to breathe deeply when the diagnosis arrives, to walk in love when they don't text back. But that is the test of faith, not the absence of storms, but the calm in the midst of them. That is the sign you are living from a higher state, from a deeper truth. Because you no longer react, you select, you choose your vibration, you choose your mood, you choose your identity. And the outer world, like a loyal servant, takes note. When you say, I am, the universe listens, not to your words, but to your tone, not to your hopes, but to your conviction. I am wealthy. I am loved. I am healthy. These are not affirmations. They are declarations of self. They are stamps upon the formless. They are blueprints for the invisible forces that shape your life. And when you declare from feeling, from inner knowing, from the state itself, you begin to solidify the unseen into the seen. But the world may still look the same. And this is where most falter. They return too soon to the former state. They say it's not working. And in saying so, they undo the work. They cancel the prayer with doubt. They scratch out the new script with old dialogue, and so the play continues as before. You must learn to outlast the lag. All manifestation has a delay. The seed does not become fruit overnight. The idea does not birth conditions in an instant. But once the assumption is planted, it will grow if you do not disturb it. You water it with repetition, you nourish it with feeling, you protect it with silence, and one day it blooms, quietly, naturally, without effort. Ignore reality until it changes, not once, not twice, but relentlessly. Ignore it when it mocks you. Ignore it when it tries to seduce you back into the old story. Ignore it when others point to it and say, but this is the truth. It is not. It is an echo, a relic, a shell. The truth is the unseen cause. The truth is the inner state, and that state is your responsibility alone. No one can feel for you, no one can assume for you, no one can occupy the new version of you except you. And once you do, you release everyone else from the burden of performing in your play. You no longer try to change them. You change yourself. And in that change, they reflect it. If someone mistreats you, do not argue with them. Do not fight them. Do not plead for better behavior. Instead, retreat within and revise the version of them you have accepted. Assume they are kind. Imagine they are loving. Feel their warmth in your inner world. And then drop it. Let it go. Let the law do its work. The mirror will eventually adjust. If money feels scarce, do not curse the bills, do not panic at the figures, do not speak of lack. Go within. Imagine ease, imagine flow, imagine abundance so natural that you laugh at your former fear. Spend in imagination with joy. Receive in imagination with delight. Walk through the store of your mind and buy whatever you want guilt-free. And then rest. Let it unfold. The bridge of events will carry you. If your body feels tired, sick, or broken, do not dwell in the diagnosis. Do not cling to the label. Close your eyes and feel yourself as whole. Dance in your mind. Run, stretch, breathe deeply. Rejoice in the strength of your inner man. Praise the vitality that is yours in spirit. The cells will listen. The flesh will respond. The body must obey the consciousness that inhabits it. You are not the character, you are the author. You are not the reflection, you are the light. You are not the puppet, you are the hand that moves it. And as such, you hold the pen, you write the lines, you choose the theme, the plot twists, the final scene. So why write tragedy when you can write triumph? Why tell the story of defeat when you can declare victory? Why repeat the script of lack when you can speak the language of abundance? Change your assumptions and your world must conform. Not sometimes, not occasionally, always. This is the law. And the law plays no favorites. It responds not to your desires, but to your beliefs. It reflects not your dreams, but your convictions. So let your convictions rise. Let them be filled with joy, with peace, with power. And let the world echo back the music of your soul. Ignore the current and swim in the unseen stream. Ignore the noise and tune into the silent song. Ignore the clutter and see only the design. You are always creating, whether you know it or not. So create on purpose. Create with clarity. Create with love. And when doubt comes knocking, as it surely will, do not answer. Let it knock. Let it tire itself out. You are no longer available for fear. You are no longer available for limitation. You are no longer available for the version of you who doubts. That self is retired, replaced, outgrown. You now walk in the rhythm of faith. You speak the language of fulfillment. You breathe in harmony with the end, and from that end, you live. And because you live from it, it must be. This is not philosophy. It is law. It is the principle behind every miracle, every breakthrough, every transformation. Do not let appearances dictate your identity. Appearances are but clay, and you are the potter. Speak a new word over them, and then walk away, trusting the form will follow. It always does. Telepathic clarity will bring its own, but to make eye contact is not. You do not need to explain your new state to others. You do not need to justify your joy or clarify your confidence or outline your inner work to anyone who does not see it. The awakened one lives quietly, not because they are secretive, but because they understand. Reality is shaped in silence, not in noise. Creation begins within, not through performance or persuasion, but through conviction. When you know it is done, you don't need to talk about it. You walk differently, you breathe differently, you radiate a frequency that the world cannot ignore. And that frequency is the language of the law. Everything in this universe is vibration, and your state of consciousness is your tone. When you enter the state of wealth, abundance begins to organize itself around you. When you enter the state of love, people begin to reflect that love back to you. When you enter the state of success, doors open, paths clear, coincidences accelerate. But these effects are not magic. They are law responding to cause. And you, dear soul, are always the cause. You cannot fake this. You cannot force it. You must feel it. You must enter it like a warm bath, like a familiar home, like a forgotten melody you suddenly remember. And if the feeling evades you at first, be patient. Persist. Immerse yourself in the new scene again and again until it becomes second nature. Let it become your default inner reality, so saturated that even when the outer world contradicts it, You no longer flinch. You simply know. And what you know in your depths, the world must eventually reflect. This is the great secret hidden in plain sight. The outer always obeys the inner. Always. But the inner must be pure. It must be undivided. You cannot serve two states. You cannot desire one thing and consistently think from another. You cannot affirm abundance while fearing bills. You cannot imagine love while assuming rejection. You must choose one and live there. And when you do, the evidence will follow like a shadow. But do not chase the shadow. Do not chase the results. Let them come. Let them bloom in their time. Obsess not over appearances, but over inner dominion. The one who can control his own assumptions controls the universe. For all things spring forth from assumption. Not action, not effort, but assumption. Action, when it comes, will flow from inspiration, not fear. Effort, when it arises, will be effortless, guided by inner certainty. You will be moved to act, but not as a beggar, rather as a master. Your steps will be ordered by your state, and your state will go before you to prepare the way. Opportunities, people, resources, all will appear drawn by the magnet of your inner conviction. Ignore what you see what you imagine, hear what you assume, touch what you feel within. This is the true sense, the inner sense that guides creation. The physical senses are beautiful servants, but terrible masters. They will always show you the past, never the future. They will confirm your previous state, not your present assumption. So when you walk by the inner sense, you step into divine territory. You walk by vision, not by sight. By inner hearing, not outer noise. By intuitive knowing, not empirical proof. And this is not denial, this is mastery. Denial resists what is. Mastery transcends it. Denial pushes against reality. Mastery rises above it and replaces it from within. You are not here to struggle with the visible. You are here to install a new vibration, a new image, a new self, until the visible bows to the invisible, and it will. All things in your world are temporary manifestations of sustained assumptions. Change the assumption and you change the condition, but do not wait to feel differently. Choose to feel differently now. Do not wait for the world to shift. Shift within. Do not wait for the person to change. Revise your inner story of them. Hold them in the light of your new belief. And if you truly persist, they will change, or they will leave your experience. But the new state will be honored. It always is. This is why you must become fierce with your focus. Guard your imagination as sacred ground. Do not allow idle thoughts to roam unchecked. Do not let your mind rehearse lack or replay failure or imagine worst-case scenarios. What you repeatedly feel, you will eventually live. And you are always rehearsing something. You are always preparing the stage of tomorrow with the thoughts of today. So choose your rehearsals wisely. Imagine not as escape, but as design. Imagine not as fantasy, but as blueprint. Imagine not to entertain yourself, but to remake yourself. Because every scene you dwell in becomes a seed, and seeds do not stay buried. They grow. They crack through the crust of appearances and bloom into reality, whether you want them to or not, whether you intended them or not. So intend, be deliberate, be precise, be clear, and most of all, be consistent. It is not enough to imagine once and hope. You must return to the scene again and again until it is etched into your subconscious like a memory. You must feel it until it becomes more real than the world around you. And when it does, the world will shift to match it. So you prepare. Others may not understand, that's okay. Others may mock or question or doubt, let them. You do not need their permission, you only need your persistence. Let the world think you're lost in a dream, because you are. And that dream is more real than the reality they cling to. That dream is the seed of your new world. And when it flowers, they will call you lucky. But you will know it was never luck. It is law. So ignore their doubt. Ignore their logic. Ignore their timelines. The only timeline that matters is the one you've chosen in imagination. The only logic that counts is the logic of feeling. And the only doubt that has power is the doubt you entertain. Say no to it. Refuse to entertain thoughts that do not align with your new identity. Refuse to accept versions of yourself that do not match the vision. Refuse to carry the old self a moment longer. Shed it. Replace it. Assume anew, because that's all it takes. A single sustained assumption, a feeling practiced daily, a scene revisited until it feels like home, and from that home all things flow. The world is not outside you. It is you, pushed out. It is the theater of your inner world. Change the script and the actors will change. Change the music and the dance will change. Change the light and the shadows will shift. You don't need to know how, you only need to know what, and to feel it now. You don't need permission, you don't need qualifications, you don't need evidence, you only need faith. Faith not in the sky, but in the self. Faith not in luck, but in law. Faith not in wishing, but in assuming. You are the power, you are the source, you are the cause, you are the creator. And your world is waiting. There comes a moment in every life when the veil between what is seen and what is known begins to dissolve. It is not through force or effort that the transformation begins, but through recognition. A quiet acknowledgement that what appears as reality is but a shadow cast by the light of consciousness. The outer world, with all its seeming permanence and solid structure, bends not to circumstance, but to the inner state of awareness from which it is born. And so, to shift your consciousness is to shift the very world in which you live. You are not at the mercy of external conditions. You never have been. What you call reality is a mirror, a perfect reflection of the assumptions you accept as true, whether consciously or unconsciously. These assumptions are not passive, they are seeds. And the moment you feel them as real, they begin to sprout in your world. It is not enough to wish. It is not enough to hope. The law of life answers only to one thing: belief felt in the depths of your being. Your consciousness is the operant power. Not the news, not the opinions of others, not your past, and certainly not the facts that crowd your current world. Facts are only frozen beliefs, hard evidence of where your attention once rested. But now you stand at the threshold of transformation, not by changing the world, but by changing yourself. To shift your reality, you must first shift your identity. You cannot remain who you were and expect your world to evolve. A new reality demands a new state of being, and that state is assumed within. Do not look to conditions to change and then allow yourself to feel different. Feel different now. Assume the new state as if it were already true, and the world will have no choice but to follow your lead. There is no limit to the worlds available to you. Every possibility exists now. Not tomorrow, not years from now, now. You move through realities not by action but by consciousness. As your inner conversations change, so too will the characters and events that populate your world. If you dare to dwell in the feeling of the wish fulfilled, everything around you will rearrange itself to reflect that state. This is not magic. This is not wishful thinking. This is the eternal principle by which all things are made. You are not waiting for something to happen. You are choosing with every breath what to make real. The question is not, can it happen, but am I willing to assume it now? And the answer to that question determines everything. When you believe that change must come from effort, struggle, or external manipulation, you deny the power of consciousness. You reduce yourself to a puppet of the world instead of its creator. But when you accept that your consciousness creates reality, you reclaim your divine inheritance. You become the master of your fate, the author of your script, and the shaper of your destiny. Begin now to observe your thoughts, not with judgment, but with awareness. See how your inner dialogue reflects the world you inhabit. Listen closely. Are your thoughts aligned with what you desire, or are they loyal to what you fear? Every thought is a thread weaving the tapestry of your world. You cannot plant seeds of doubt and expect a harvest of certainty. You cannot dwell in lack and awaken in abundance. The inner state must precede the outer form. Do not wait for proof. The proof comes only after the assumption. The world cannot reflect what you do not first embody. And so, the work is internal. The shift is inward. The battle is not with the world, but with your own disbelief. For once the new state is accepted, the world bends. You must begin to live from the end. Not towards it, not around it, from it. See yourself as the one who already has. Speak as the one who already is. Walk as the one who already knows. For what you claim as true within yourself must find its mirror in the world. Reality does not argue, it reflects. You are not separate from your desire, you are one with it. The distance between you and what you want is an illusion created by the senses. But your imagination knows better. It sees through the surface. It touches the unseen. And when you allow imagination to become more real than the facts must change. There is no power outside of your own consciousness. Everything you experience, every person, every event, every opportunity, is drawn to you according to your inner state. If you want to know what you believe, look around. Your world is the evidence of your assumptions. But if you wish to change it, turn inward. Close your eyes and feel what it would be like if your desire were already fulfilled, not as a game, not as a trick, but as a deep surrender to the truth that you are the operant power. Persist in that feeling. Return to it again and again. Dwell there so consistently that the world begins to lose its grip on your attention and the unseen becomes more vivid than the seen. And when you live that way, boldly, courageously, consistently, the shift becomes inevitable. There is no more waiting. There is only choosing. Do not confuse imagination with fantasy. One creates, the other distracts. Imagination, when used with conviction, becomes the womb of creation. When you imagine boldly, with feeling, you impress the subconscious mind, and it begins to move heaven and earth to make your inner reality out of fact. And though you may not see the bridge at first, it will appear. Events will unfold, people will come, ideas will strike, doors will open, but none of it begins until you make the shift within. The world is not fixed, it is fluid, molded moment by your consciousness. You are not born into a set destiny. You are born into infinite potential. And the direction you take is determined by the state you occupy. You have occupied states of lack, fear, limitation, and doubt. And your world has reflected them perfectly. But now you are called to occupy new states: abundance, joy, confidence, love, wholeness, and allow the mirror of reality to respond. Nothing is outside of your reach. Nothing is too big, too far, or too impossible. The only barrier is belief. But belief can be changed. And when belief changes, the entire universe reconfigures itself to match it. You are not trying to force the world to change. You are allowing it to respond to your shift in being. Feel the truth of this. Let it settle in your bones. The change you seek does not live in the world. It lives in your assumption of self. It lives in the feeling you return to in silence, in solitude, in stillness. That feeling, that awareness, is the architect of your world. So practice dwelling in the feeling of the wish fulfilled. Return to it often. Let it become your home. And as you do, the old world will begin to dissolve, not with chaos, but with grace. The new world will emerge, not with struggle, but with alignment. You will begin to notice small signs, conversations, synchronicities, subtle shifts that confirm the change. And as you persist, the signs will grow louder, more frequent, more undeniable, until one day you will wake up and realize the change has already happened, that you are already living in the reality you once imagined, and all of it began with a shift in consciousness. This is not a one-time act. It is a way of being, a way of moving through life, with eyes that see beyond the veil, with a heart that knows its power, with a mind that refuses to settle for what is and dares to claim what can be. You are not here to chase reality, you are here to create it, to rise above appearances, to move into a new state and let the world respond. It always responds, without exception, without delay, without confusion. The only question is, what are you assuming now? Every moment is a fork in the road. You can choose to react to what you see, or you can respond to what you know. One leads to more of the same, the other leads to transformation. The shift is subtle but profound. It is not loud, it is not dramatic, it is often silent. A new feeling, a new assumption, a new identity, and with it, a new world. You may ask, but what if I don't feel it yet? What if doubt creeps in? Then return again, return to the state until it becomes natural. You are not pretending, you are planting, and seeds take time to grow. The feeling may begin as faint, as delicate as a whisper, but with persistence it becomes your truth. You will wear it like a second skin, and the world will conform, not because you forced it to, but because it had no choice. Reality cannot resist the command of consciousness. It is molded by it, shaped by it, constructed and deconstructed by it. You are the sculptor, not the sculpture. The world is not doing anything to you. It is responding to you. It is echoing your innermost convictions. So make bold assumptions, not timid ones. Don't say, maybe it could happen. Say, it already has. Don't ask, what if I fail? Declare, this is who I am now. Speak with finality. Walk with conviction. Think from the outcome, not toward it. When your inner world becomes rooted in the assumption of already having, you release the energy of chasing. You stop yearning and start knowing. And this knowing shifts everything. People feel it. Circumstances bend around it. Opportunities rush to meet it. You are not trying to become. You are remembering who you are. The one who imagines is not separate from the one who experiences. They are the same being. The act of imagining is the act of creation. All manifestation is simply consciousness made visible. Your inner world is the blueprint, your outer world is the printout. Change the code, and the display must change. There is no argument with this law. It is as fixed as gravity. The only variable is your willingness to accept its truth. And once you do, life becomes different. You stop fighting the world. You stop pleading with others. You stop begging circumstances to change. Instead, you go within. You feel the change. You occupy the new state, and you let the law fulfill itself. Let the outer world be as it is for now. Do not be disturbed if it does not yet reflect your assumption. The world is delayed in its response. It takes time for old assumptions to dissolve and the new ones to emerge. But if you persist, it will appear. It must. You are the cause. Reality is the effect. Reverse the order and you lose your power. But maintain it and you will walk through life as a creator, not a reactor. As a chooser, not a victim. This shift is not loud. It is not dramatic. It often happens in the quietest moments. In the stillness of early morning, in the silence before sleep, in the pause between breaths. A flicker of awareness, a feeling of certainty, a glimpse of the truth. And that is enough to begin the cascade of change. No matter what your past looks like, no matter what your present contains, the future is unwritten, and it is shaped not by time, but by state. You are always in a state. The question is, which one are you choosing now? Are you in the state of I don't have, or the state of I already am, the state of I am searching, or the state of I am found? Each state carries its own conditions. Each one comes with its own world. When you enter a new state, everything changes. The people you meet, the opportunities you attract, the way life responds. So if you do not like the world you are in, change the state you are in. Withdraw your attention from the undesired, not by resisting it, not by hating it, but by ignoring it. Starve it of your attention, starve it of your belief, and it will fade. And in its place, nurture the new. Feed the new with feeling, with faith, with repetition, and it will grow. This is not denial, this is decision. You are not pretending problems do not exist. You are choosing to live in a world where they are already solved. You are not blind to your circumstances, you are simply no longer ruled by them. Your power lies in this choice, to shift the gaze inward, to claim your inner authority, to stop asking the world for permission to be who you truly are. When you do this, you will feel a subtle but undeniable sense of liberation, as if the chains of limitation begin to fall away. You'll begin to notice that the people who once mirrored your fear now mirror your faith. The world that once resisted now yields. Reality stops being the enemy and becomes your servant. Everything begins to respond to your new frequency. Not because you manipulated it, but because you aligned with it. Telepathy becomes natural. You will find that others begin to speak the words you've been dwelling on. They will respond to thoughts you have never spoken aloud. This is not coincidence, this is resonance. The world is thought reflected. As you change your thoughts, you change your atmosphere. Key is not that you must make things happen. It is that things must happen because of who you have become. Let that sink in. You don't manifest by chasing, by striving, or by efforting. You manifest by being. The more you inhabit the state of your desire fulfilled, the more life bends to meet it. It is a sacred dance between imagination and reality, between feeling and form, between inner knowing and outer reflection. There will come a moment when what once felt impossible begins to feel natural. The assumption that once felt foreign will begin to feel like home. And in that moment, the change is inevitable. The world will have no choice but to catch up with your new identity. This is the shift. And once you taste it, once you live from it, once you realize how simple it truly is, you'll wonder how you ever lived any other way. You will become a different version of yourself, not through force, but through alignment, not through striving, but through surrender. Surrender not to fate, but to the truth of your power. For when you shift within, you shift without, and the world cannot help but obey. It is law, it is truth, it is life. You are not walking through a world that is happening to you. You are walking through a world that is happening through you. Every image, every sound, every experience is a reflection of your state. And if you want something new, go within and become something new. You do not need permission. You do not need time. You do not need proof. You need only to assume, and once assumed, live from it, think from it, feel from it. Let the assumption become your new dwelling place, your new home, your new identity. Reality will follow. It always does. There is a sacred space within you where all things are possible. This space is not physical. It is not bound by logic, not limited by history, not controlled by the senses. It is the silence behind every thought, the awareness behind every emotion. It is from this space that the real work is done, not with hands but with mind, not with effort but with feeling. This is where creation begins. To shift your consciousness is to enter this space deliberately, to close your eyes and see beyond sight, to feel beyond the present moment, to move your sense of self from who the world says you are to who you decide you are. You are not your job. You are not your bank account. You are not your past. You are consciousness itself. And the moment you accept this, you are free, free to choose a new assumption, free to embody a new identity, free to walk in a new direction. Without explanation, without apology, without delay. You are not here to live reactively, you are here to live intentionally. The world may offer facts, but your consciousness offers truth. And the truth is, you are the beginning and end of your world. As you go within, so the world responds. Not maybe, not sometimes, always. This is not about positive thinking, it's about powerful knowing. Knowing that reality is pliable, that the universe is responsive, and that your inner state is the tuning fork to which life harmonizes. What you assume becomes, what you persist in feeling hardens into fact. The process is simple, but simplicity is not weakness. Simplicity is power refined, and this power has always been yours. Step into the feeling of already having. Not just with thought, but with emotion. Let your imagination flood with the images of your ideal life. Not someday, now. Feel the softness of the reality you desire. Hear the voices congratulating you. Smell the air of your dream environment. Engage all the senses, not because it is childish, but because it is divine. You are impressing the subconscious, and the subconscious speaks in feeling. Ignore the current facts. Not from ignorance, but from authority. A king does not argue with a servant. And your assumptions are the king. Your facts are merely the servants changing their behavior the moment your command changes. Live from the wish fulfilled, not in short bursts, but as a lifestyle. Breathe it, speak it, walk with it, let it inform your every choice, and when doubts come, and they will, acknowledge them not as truth, but as echoes of the old state. Echoes fade. Don't give them your voice. Don't give them your loyalty. Give your energy only to what you now claim as true. And when the world begins to shift, when strange things begin to happen, when opportunities arise that seem too perfect, when people echo your inner monologue, do not be surprised. This is the nature of the shift. The outer must bow to the inner. There will be bridges of incidents, pathways that unfold in ways your rational mind could never predict. You are not meant to figure it out. You are meant to assume, to feel, and to remain loyal to the vision. The bridge will appear. Trust it, walk it, let it carry you to the fulfillment of your state. This is not arrogance, this is spiritual law. You are not demanding from the universe. You are aligning with it. You are stepping into the current that carries your desire into form. The longer you dwell in the new state, the more natural it becomes. The more natural it becomes, the faster the reflection changes. It is not about effort. It is about embodiment. Become the thing and the world treats you as the thing. There is no competition in this. There is no scarcity. The state you assume creates its own supply. It draws unto itself all that is needed for its full expression. You do not have to figure out how. You only have to trust the now. This shift in consciousness is not temporary. It is not something you do once and forget. It is a continual choosing. Every day, every moment, you are either returning to the old or remaining in the new. Be watchful, be gentle, be relentless. The world will test your loyalty, not to punish, but to purify. And as you pass the tests, by remaining faithful to the new assumption, you will rise. A new world begins to emerge, not slowly, but suddenly. And you will recognize it not by the obvious signs, but by the inner calm, the knowing, the soft confidence that what you have claimed is already yours. You are not manifesting for the sake of gain. You are manifesting because it is your nature to create. Just as a rose blooms not to impress, but because it is its nature to bloom, you create not to prove anything, but because you were born to do so. In this space of knowing, you become magnetic. Your state begins to affect others. Conversations change. People are drawn to you without knowing why. Circumstances flow, not in resistance, but in harmony. You will begin to feel the pulse of the universe beating in time with your intention. This is alignment. This is power. When you live this way, you no longer ask, will it happen? You say, it is done. You no longer wait, you walk. You no longer beg, you bless. You no longer seek, you stand. Because the shift has already occurred. Your consciousness has changed. And so reality must follow. This shift is your gift. This shift is your power. This shift is your inheritance. And it is not reserved for the few. It is available to all who dare to assume. Dare now, not tomorrow, not when circumstances feel better, now. In the middle of the current facts, in the face of contradiction, assume the new state with boldness, with certainty, with joy. Feel what it would feel like to already be the one you desire to be, and do not leave that feeling. Marry it. Let it become your home. Let it become your truth. The world will catch up. It always does. You are not here to suffer. You are here to awaken, to remember, to rise, to create. Everything begins with a shift in consciousness. Everything changes with a shift in awareness. And the one who dares to shift inward first sees the outward shift in return. So claim it now. Step into the state boldly. Let the world do what it will. You remain faithful. You remain unwavering. You remain grounded in the unseen. Because what is unseen today will be undeniable tomorrow. And it all began within you. You are the seed of the universe planted in the field of time, and every assumption you hold is like a code written into the fabric of space itself. That is why life responds not to your words alone, but to your conviction. It mirrors not the surface declarations, but the secret tones of your being. When you speak from fear, it echoes with resistance. When you move in faith, it opens in harmony. This is not philosophical theory. It is spiritual technology. It is law. It is the law behind all laws. So stop waiting for signs. You are the sign. Stop chasing proof. You are the proof. When you feel it real, when you shift within, the timeline alters. The path recalibrates. The players change. You are not locked into anything, not fate, not the past, not the opinions of others. The moment you assume a new state, the script rewrites itself. Let this truth dismantle every limitation you've ever accepted. Let it disrupt your story of being a victim, of being stuck, of being not enough. These are all identities rooted in a past you are under no obligation to repeat. You are not the result of what happened to you. You are the result of what you now accept as true. This is the only cause, and everything else is consequence. So say now with inner finality, I am what I choose to be, not tomorrow, now. I am not on the way. I have arrived. I do not hope for it, I assume it. I live in it, I breathe through it, I speak from it. And because I have shifted, the world is shifting. It is not arrogance. It is authorship. You are the author of your life. The pen is in your hand, and consciousness is the ink. Write boldly, write freely, write from love, from power, from imagination. The world will read what you write and reflect it without resistance. Others may not understand at first. They may not see the change until it becomes visible. But you are not responsible for their vision. You are responsible for yours. Let your inner vision become so vivid, so consistent, so real, that it outshines the need for outer validation. This is not delusion. This is creation. And those who misunderstand you now will marvel later, not because you convinced them, but because reality convinced them, because what was once invisible became undeniable. And they will ask, how did you do it? And you will smile, knowing it was not done, it was assumed. You are not changing the world with force, you are changing the world with consciousness. And consciousness moves mountains. The more you return to the state, the more natural it becomes. And what is natural becomes normal, and what is normal becomes law in your life. This is why the practice is not mechanical, it is devotional. You are returning home, returning to the truth of your being. You are not becoming, you are remembering. There is no one outside of you causing your delay. There is no one keeping you small. The only question is, what are you assuming now? Assumptions are not idle thoughts. They are forces, realities in seed form. And every reality that exists outside of you is waiting to be claimed within. Infinite versions of you exist. And the version you see is the one you are being. Shift the being, and you shift the reflection. You do not need to take action out of fear. You do not need to chase, to beg, to strive. When action flows from alignment, it is effortless, inspired, magnetic. But when it flows from lack, it only creates more distance. So before you act, align. Before you speak, assume. Before you move, feel. Make your inner world the center of your attention, and the outer world will rotate around it. There is no other way, no other source, no other truth. All cause is within, all change begins there, all power is born there. And so, when something in your world appears unwanted, do not fight it. Do not give it your power by calling it real. Instead, withdraw your attention, deny it your focus, and gently, firmly move into the state of your desire fulfilled. Rest there. Dwell there. Let it become your home. And in time, not by your clock, but by the rhythm of the law, the old dissolves and the new emerges. It may come subtly, like the whisper of a breeze. It may come loudly, like the crash of a wave. But it will come. And when it does, you will know that the real work was done long before it arrived. The real work is always inward, and the results are always outward. You must persist, not because the law is slow, but because your belief must be made solid. The longer you remain faithful, the faster the shift. It is not about desperation, it is about devotion. Be devoted to the vision, be loyal to the unseen. Let your inner conversations reflect your desired end. Speak as the one who already has. Think as the one who already is. Move as the one who already knows. Reality will follow. And in this devotion, you will begin to feel a stillness, a peace, a confidence that defies logic. You will walk through life not as one hoping for change, but as one who commands it, silently, powerfully, lovingly. Because when you shift in consciousness, the world bends. This is not theory. This is the experience of all who dare to claim it. And when you persist long enough, the world that once ignored your desires begins to echo them back to you. Random messages, perfect timing, unexplainable turns, doors opening, answers appearing, and still you say nothing because you already knew. You knew when you shifted, you knew when you claimed, you knew when you decided that who you are is more powerful than what you see. And now the evidence simply follows. That is the way of power. Quiet, certain, unshakable. You become a living example of what it means to create from within. You walk as the fulfilled. You speak with the weight of conviction. You radiate a frequency so clear that others feel it before they understand it. And they will be drawn, not to you, but to the truth within you. Because truth is magnetic. Consciousness is magnetic. You are not changing the world for validation. You are changing it because it is your right, your gift, your responsibility. And when others see the transformation, they too will begin to ask different questions. Not, can I have this, but who must I be now to live in that reality? Peace, you are secure in life and death. You will. And then the ripple begins. Because your shift becomes their inspiration. Your assumption becomes their permission. And the consciousness of the whole rises. This is how the world changes. Not through force, through assumption, through demonstration, through inner revolution, and you are the start of it.